Welcome to War Thunder with Subdued. How y'all doing? Yesterday, the dev server was up. I got onto it and I played around with it and I had some fun. And here's what I took away from it. Now, I only do aviation. So there were only 4 planes added in that dev server. Well, actually, 3 planes added and 1 weapon system. The weapon system was the AGM-65 Maverick, a optically guided fire and forget missile system. If you don't know what optically guided is, basically it uses a contrast in the target's contrast to the background. If your target drives itself into a forest, you're probably not going to hit it. If your target pops a smoke screen, you're probably not going to hit it. The Maverick, though, does give the one plane, the A7D, the option of firing the missile at anything from 6 kilometers down and then boogieing out of the area to it just basically gives it the option to fire and maneuver without having to worry about what the missile is doing. Unlike the bullpups and the Russian missiles, the KH-23, yeah. So this missile gets out there and locks on target, and it has a huge explosion capability. Almost 2 meters of penetration in a direct hit. 0 angle hit. 900 millimeters on a 60-degree slope. So this missile puts a lot of boom on target. And there's nothing out there that can survive a hit from one of these. I'll bet there's even ships that would pretty much be ammo racked by one of these. That then sends us over to the USSR. The USSR got the magnificent Su-17 M2, I forget, but gorgeous plane, absolutely gorgeous. It's a true attacker. Although they call it a strike aircraft, it's an attacker. It's actually a strike fighter because it is agile and it has enough power to be flown in the pure fighter role. Now, it doesn't have an airborne radar. It's got a gun sight radar, which every Sabre has. But what it does have is 4 of the R60s. And then it can also carry 6 500-kilogram bombs and various other things. including 3 different types of air-to-ground missile. And only one of those missiles was modeled in the game yesterday during the dev server. That's not a bad thing. That just means it was a dev server. The swing wing capability, just a hint. Slave that to the same controls that you use for the variable thrust nozzles on the Harrier or the Yak 38. That way you're not duplicating something that you need to duplicate. You're not going to be flying the Yak 38 while you're flying the Su-17. Now, the variable sweep currently had no effect on the flight model, other than one thing. You cannot land or use landing flaps when you are in a fully swept mode. And there's only landing and off, no flaps. On a funnier note, I lost both wings, both of the swing sections off from one of the planes, and I was able to maintain flight. Not very well, but better than, you know, a Piper Cub. It was quite interesting. Almost got it landed too. Just kind of lost a little bit of lift there at the end when I was trying to put it down. Mainly because you're missing the outer wings. I think it's going to be a great plane. I'm sure some people are going to be using it as a straight fighter. And if they're going to use it as a straight fighter, it will be competent. China got the F-5A. If you don't know what that is, it was the Freedom Fighter. It was the low-cost fighter program created by the U.S. Air Force to create a low-cost aircraft that we could sell to our allies and not so enemies. We sold a lot of them to Vietnam, Taiwan, let's see, I think Venezuela got some, Bolivia, Mexico got some. We sold a lot of F-5As. And they are a competent fighter. During the 1980s, the Air Force and the Navy both picked up F-5s to use as aggressors. If you don't know what aggressors are, they're the squadron of fighters that go up against Red Flag and Top Gun. The Air Force and the Navy pilot advanced training courses where they teach them air combat maneuvering. The F-5 is extremely competent in the amount of ordnance that it carries, and it has a flight profile very similar to the MiG-21. So now you know what it is. Hopefully we'll get the F-20 Tiger Shark sometime soon. That would be an interesting addition. Also has a going from dual engines to a single engine, and it's much larger with much more thrust. So the F-20 Tiger Shark should prove to be an extremely competent fighter. And then the last plane in the list was the Swedish Premium. Now, the Swedish Premium is going to go right here. It'll be a rank 2. It'll have two 7.5s or 7.7s, I'm not sure. And two 20mm Oerlikon FFs, not the MG FFs. It's a premium. Wasn't really that worried about it or that interested in it. Didn't get a chance to fly it. But there are plenty of YouTube videos out there that say, hey, it's whatever. Again, it's a plane I'm not that interested in. But this is the plane that I am most interested in, other than the Su-17. Su-17 is just going to be, well, I've got a reason to actually work on the Chinese or the Russian line now, because the Su-17 is definitely a plane that's worthwhile. The Su-7s, I found no reason to fly the Su-7s. I've got them both, and I really had no use for them, because the Su-7s, well, they carried some ordnance, were nowhere near as competent as the Su-17. They were fast, and they had a gun, but they didn't have any air-to-air missiles. And when you get to that level of competition, you need air-to-air missiles. The Su-17 comes with 4 R-60s, or 2, depending upon what your loadout is, or none if you don't want to carry any at all. But I would really advise carrying a minimum of 2 and preferably 4. And that's pretty much it. Dev server was fun. I didn't see any major glitches other than the fact that the Su-17 flight model isn't finished yet, and they acknowledge that. The sweep of the wings does not affect flight performance. You can go the same speed with the wings fully stretched as you can with them tucked in. And the wings flutter horribly around 715 miles an hour. And they start to get, you start to redline at about 740 miles an hour, and you will brake not long after that. Maverick missiles, Su-17, the F-5A, and the Fokker D-21. That's it for aviation, other than the Wasp helicopter, which I didn't get into in the British line. I haven't really gotten into any of the helicopters, even though I've got a couple of them. And the reason I haven't gotten into them is because there's just no reason. This subdude signing out. Y'all have a pleasant today, a better tomorrow, and we'll catch you in the sky in Air Realistic on the good maps. Take care, folks.